Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk Football with Dan and Jesse for our usual Monday slot. Thank you very much for joining us. So today we're just, we're kind of just waiting for football to really kick off at the moment. So we're just going to be discussing the Community Shield, have a look at the result, what we thought of the game, who played well, who didn't play so well. There's a couple of opinions there. And then look at the Chelsea transfer saga that just keeps on rolling and rolling and rolling. Cucrella, they're now in for. City's pulled out the deal, apparently don't want anything to do with it, but Chelsea has said that they'll pay the fee. But, would you have guessed it, Barcelona are apparently lurking. And like we've not seen that story before, it's becoming a little bit of a same situation. So we're going to be discussing that one. Please put your comments in for us. We really appreciate your opinions on those. Hit the like for us. Subscribe if you can, if you're not already subscribed. And Jesse, how are you, my mate?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm very good now that we are the English Super Cup winners. I've always said that it's a major trophy. It's the biggest curtain raiser probably in world football, to be honest.
Shameless. Utterly.
No, I joke. Yeah, I say the energy. It is the big 50p. It's nice to win. If you don't win it, whatever. But if you win it, hey, happy days. Piece of silverware, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. No, exactly.
So yeah, very pleased. Jesse, just on your time, a Liverpool fan. What did you make of the game? What were your opinions of Liverpool? What was your opinions of City?
It was good. You definitely looked more sharp than City did. That was my first impression, and I do believe that they've played. You guys have played around 5 or 6 preseason games.
Yeah, well, 6 including yesterday's debacle.
6. Okay, so 4 before, and I think City had played 2. Lots of travel for both teams, going to the States and all that, coming over here, this side of the pond. Liverpool definitely looked more sharp.
Yes.
City didn't look bad, but I think some of the performances that City fans will have wanted to see, your Hollands and all that, they weren't really at the races. Nunez came on, looked pretty good. I think that's going to be an interesting battle this year. But overall, I think Liverpool looked the sharper team and were worth their money for the win. So,
yeah, well, no, 100%. I mean, I'll start on City. They didn't look like the normal City. Like, don't get me wrong, they were doing Manchester City things. They were controlling the ball. They were strong. They had a lot of possession. They were kind of doing their usual bit when it comes to controlling the ball and passing it around and basically trying to suffocate teams. They always seem to struggle. I mean, we watched it together on Discord, didn't we? And we both have the same opinion. Man City, for some reason, play a different game against Liverpool. They don't seem to try and play the same football. And Liverpool don't play the same football against City when it comes to controlling the ball. They just seem to want to kind of go head-to-head with each other and see what happens. I was very impressed with watching Trent Alexander-Arnold. He looks like he's been hitting that gym. He looks bigger. He looks stronger. All through pre-season, he has been his usual self, and he got a really nice goal. A little bit of luck with the deflection, but it was on target from what I could see. And yeah, fantastic start. Got to half time, 1-0. City had probably one decent proper chance. Haaland hit it straight at Adrian in the first half. Nothing really kind of to write home about. Second half. Now, this is where it got interesting because I actually felt like City really did control the game in the second half. They looked the better team, to be honest. And Liverpool were kind of just, holding on for the 1-0, just kind of riding the storm, letting them have the ball and just, using it as almost as a defensive exercise. And then, as unfortunately could have been predicted, they scored. Alvarez came on, impressed with what he did, plays a very different style of football than City are used to. And I think we'll see him score a lot of goals like that, where Haaland will be the distraction, but Alvarez will be the one who does the damage. And that's kind of what happened against us. Haaland made the run and Alvarez was then available for the pickup of the second ball. And he scored a really nice goal. Adrian could have done a lot better, to be fair. You really could have in that moment. He could have saved it. Conversation to be had about if he had 2 hands on the ball. Not bitter about how it was against, in previous times where, the keepers had 2 hands. This was Kasper Schmeichel. Even 1 hand on the ball technically means that they're in control of it. But we'll leave it. It doesn't matter. Here for the Nunez hype. Well, Patrick, you have joined the Nunez hype train. Thank you very much. woo, you're on it now, my mate. This guy slags his team constantly. He doesn't love this man. He doesn't love them at all. I'm curious
as well, Patrick, if you do have a couple of minutes at some point, hop on, because we're also going to go over the Cucurella stuff. So I'd be interested.
Yeah, you can get on for that, even if it comes a little bit later on or whatever, mate. Send us a message. We appreciate it. So, 1-1. Nunez comes on, and what an impact he actually made. He really did cause problems for Man City. He was a constant threat of not allowing City to do what they wanted. He wasn't allowing their back line to be as high up the pitch because of what he could offer. And that was what probably was the interesting point. And he was instrumental in creating the penalty, a little bit fortunate. I don't think the header was... He did the right thing with the header. He was putting it back across the keeper. Wasn't probably on target, but at the end of the day, if Diaz is going to hang his arms out like a scarecrow, well, you're going to give penalties away. And that's what happens. So he gave the penalty away. Salah bottom binsed it. Really, really good penalty. And to be fair, it had to be, because I think Ederson would have had it covered if it wasn't as accurate as it was. He did really, really well with that. And then, I mean, it was written in the stars, wasn't it, to be honest with you, all the hype of Haaland and Nunez and all this kind of stuff, that one of them was going to have a stinker and one of them was going to end up with the glory. And it turned out Nunez was the one who ended up with the glory. Scored a really nice sort of Van Nistelrooy, sort of poachers-esque little header in the 6-yard box. Great goal, lovely movement. Diaz completely lost him, like didn't know where he was. Like the marking was non-existent, because what was interesting, I watched a tactical review of that goal and how it happened. And it was not Nunez, but it was Carvalho. Carvalho had switched from the 10 position to the 9 in the point where he passes the ball to Salah. Salah gets the ball and then Carvalho makes the run, which then Nunez is then taking the 10 position, but he's completely forgotten about. No one picks him up in the defence because Carvalho has now become the 9. And that is why Nunez has so much time on his hands and was unmarked for that header. Great goal, lovely assist, 3-1, and yeah, I was dead pleased, really, really pleased.
So something I think is really interesting, just before we go ahead and bring Pat in, just let us kind of know when you're ready, Pat. What I see, which is very interesting with Nunez, I see someone who does kind of work on the left, the right, and through the center, obviously, as you guys will have kind of brought him in for. Yeah. And I see a lot more of that from Alvarez as well. A little bit more fluidity. Obviously, Haaland can run the channels. Will always be capable of doing that. So we'll bring you in a second. But yeah, I think Haaland's a little bit more rigid in the City system, if that makes sense, just because of what he provides. Nunez, I mean, like Liverpool are just very, very direct. They have a very direct style of play. So it makes me a little bit more confident that Nunez can fill that role at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Whereas when you kind of look at City wingers, you get a lot of Foden, Grealish, Mahrez. Mahrez is direct, obviously, but then players like that who also have that little technical, like the patterns of play and all that. Let's go ahead and bring in Patrick, see what he thinks about all this, because obviously it was not the best day at the office, but kind of where we started off, Patrick, was it looked like you guys were a little bit less sharp than Liverpool, and I think some of that might have to do with the way that Pep has had the preparations going this preseason, but also the fact that you guys have played less games in preseason so far than Liverpool. So
yeah, I said it before. I said it like straightforward. I said it to the City fans, where there's a group chat on Twitter. So I told the guys at the beginning, way before we played Liverpool, even before the charity shield, I was like, why is that every bloody season, right? Why does he say we have, like, who makes, how can I say it? Who sets it up that we have to play 2 games or 1 game? Like every preseason since Pep, it's 2 games or 1 game. Last time it was Madrid and Man United, and that's it, but done and dusted. And then new signings sometimes don't even play in those games. It doesn't even make sense to me. So new signings even get benched. So, like, for instance, in the first game, he benched Haaland, right? Sat him throughout the first game. Then he gave him Bayern 45 minutes. Actually, about 40-something minutes, he gave him about 40-something. Obviously, he scored in 12 minutes, fair play. But Haaland still looked lost because he's a new signing and he hasn't dealt with the system. Haaland said, I'm fit enough. Pep says, no, I'll play you 45 minutes. Obviously, I get what Pep is doing because apparently they spoke to her and his father when they signed and said, we will manage you to make sure you're not injured. But
Yeah.
now, even in that game, in the first game, he never played all the first teamers except De Bruyne. And then the second game, he never played Phillips, who has to gel in into the team. So I don't get what his end game is all the time during preseason. So when I saw the fact that Liverpool is running us out of off the pitch, I wasn't shocked. And when some City fans were saying, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh my God, we literally had this conversation 30 minutes ago saying we suck at preseason, and that's how we always end up looking tired. Spurs spanking us. Half of our team is not even with us. So like that's what you get. And for him, what makes me laugh is last season, even with the Leicester City game. I don't know if you watched it. He seems to not care much. Yes, he'll look animated, but in the press, all he says is, "Oh, that was a good exercise." Do you get my point? So I was like, okay, so do you do this purposely? Me as a City fan, it pisses me off because I say we have the opportunity to start off preseason the same as United and everybody, Chelsea. So I don't get what his trick is behind giving them extra 2 weeks of rest. And I don't get the decision of saying 2 games. So for me, I'm not surprised. Everybody in that City team, especially people like Edison, who even haven't played any preseason game at all, I think so. Or he played the other one. I don't know how many minutes. Like, I'm not surprised that people were like that. They were not sharp. It's as if Pep for the Charity Shield, which we will play when we win FA Cup or we win Premier League. It's as if the players know, oh, we are set up to fail anyway. We're set up to not look fit at all. Because even Leicester City had played like 6 preseason or was prepped before us. So for me, I'm just surprised. That's what made me laugh. But overall, like fair play to Liverpool. They look like because I was also laughing at you guys saying why are you doing overkill in preseason? But it looks like overkill in preseason has actually got some of the players sharp. Do you get my point? Like I think Nunes, if this was his first game or second game, we could have been laughing at both sides saying, look at these clowns. But I think he's sharpened up in the third game. Then now he's more confident coming in. So fair play to Liverpool. Like it's a good strategy. And then they'll play a fifth preseason game again. Why City play the preseason game in August on the middle of the season?
You see, the funny thing is like Liverpool always play this style. Like this was the first year under Klopp that I remember we had to play the sponsor pre-season games, which is to keep the sponsors happy. That was the United game and the Crystal Palace match. He doesn't like those. He has almost a disdain for them because that's not his idea of pre-season. His idea of pre-season is actually what happened against Salzburg and Leipzig. That is where they go to Austria or they go to France or they go to we went to Evian in the year that we won the league. And that's where they have the bonding. They go fishing, they go on bike rides. They really do that kind of team togetherness thing. They bring in inspirational speakers from different sports. Just help get the mindset right. There's a lot of belief in kind of off the pitch effects on the pitch at Liverpool, and we were absolutely electric against Leipzig. Salzburg, we weren't so, but we were playing again. Some players got 15 minutes, some got 45, some got an hour. It was always a mix. And I was at the game last night against Strasbourg, and obviously this was actually a two-pronged. The game was actually set up as a gift to the fans from Paris.
Yeah.
It was actually a gift for them to come back and have a free match, to come and watch the team. And they had some parties from the kids who were involved, in some of the riots, in the tear gassing and all this stuff. They had a party. They had Jamie Webster, the singer, on. I think it was a way of kind of almost a thank you to the fans, obviously for being there, and that's what that game was from last night. So that was that. But yeah, we were really, really sharp. We looked like Liverpool, which I never had any doubts. I know some people seem to doubt Liverpool every single season and think that we're going to be weaker, but not while Klopp's here and not while that coaching team. Liverpool will never be weaker. We're always ready.
So that's kind of the funny thing that I find about both City and Liverpool, though it has been interesting with City over the past couple of years. You guys do start slow, but then once December comes, you guys click into gear and it's just a 20-game win run. Like, it's pretty amazing how that happens every year at that exact point. But I do think it's one of those things with Liverpool. I always see it. You guys tend to have like really iffy, weird, awkward preseasons, and then the moment the season starts, you guys are off to the races. And just one more thing on kind of the weird preseason thing with City. I've been hearing this a lot recently from people within the game, and it sounds like most of them would really prefer to stay at Carrington. Stay. What is it? Anfield. What's your guys' training ground?
Liverpool.
Yeah.
The AXA is for Liverpool's training centre.
Yeah, but like staying closer to home and getting everything dialed in, so you have better preparation, so you have the facilities to do recovery, and everything's kind of stayed there. Everyone's settled in. You're not off in the U.S. or in Australia or Thailand or wherever you may be in China. I've heard a lot of that recently, and I wonder if Pep sometimes does that to try to keep people around the city more. I'm not sure if that really makes sense, but it does kind of sound weird when you hear about teams going off to play 2 games versus these other teams who are going off, like you say, to play these kind of like corporate games and all that.
Yeah, Klopp didn't like those first 2. He had an absolute disdain for them, really. That's not his idea of pre-season. He does like, the camp, the 2 weeks away from, as a team, as a unit, as a group together, having a good time. There was, people doing karaoke of an evening. It's about building that team ethic along with getting down to the training, because obviously once they have that, it's then back to the UK. Then now they obviously come back. They played the game against City. Really good game against City. Looked really on it. That was Liverpool's full team. Everyone had a really, really good game. I can't say anyone had a bad game, to be fair. Like, it was, especially, when we had a couple of injuries, no Jota, no Alisson, no Oxlade-Chamberlain, who wasn't really going to play anyway. It was as good as you could have wanted, and I was dead happy. And what I like is, as well as Patrick said, it was going to be 3-1. He just got the teams the wrong way around.
I have to. I have to. Trust me, every time I go to every channel, I say 3-1. Even if we have injuries, I just say 3-1 because I back my team anyway. I back them. But what I'm trying to say, like, look, at the end of the day, I'm happy that we played you guys. I think playing Leicester was a bit of we got deceived a bit. Yeah, Leicester, remember, we drew, then ended up in pens. Leicester were defending for their lives. Why I'm saying I'm happy we played Liverpool is because we're playing you guys who, obviously, according to me, some people might go against me, even though people are twerking for Arsenal. I would say, since you are like one of the best teams in England, opposite City, I would rather maybe that's what Pep saw from the beginning. That's why he had 2 preseasons. Maybe he saw the 3rd preseason game will be Liverpool, so I can throw people like Haaland and them guys into the deep end. Do you get my point? That I'd rather them test themselves against Liverpool so they know exactly what the best is in England. Do you get my point? Like, I'd rather test.
No,
I was actually happy that it's with you guys because I was like, at least the players now can look at them and say, yeah, we are a bit down from Liverpool. We know, so we have to step up our game for the West Ham game. Unlike, let's say, for instance, if Liverpool played, let me give for example, if Liverpool played maybe West Ham in the Charity Shield or some team that's not great. Let's say you play Fulham as they were the FA Cup winners and you batter them 7-0. You wouldn't. Yes, you get a bit of pride saying yes, we battered Fulham 7-0, but you wouldn't sit there and say we got tested. So I'm happy that Liverpool, actually, maybe we played City versus Liverpool. I'm pretty sure Liverpool fans are also happy because you'd rather even play a 70% Liverpool than go play a 100% mid-table team. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I was really happy. I think it was a good opportunity for Liverpool to kind of just set a record straight. I think there was a bit of a point to prove, to say, listen, we're here again. We're going to try and we're looking to beat you. Last season everyone said, oh, Liverpool never beat any of the top 6. Well, it's done now, isn't it? We beat one of those. There it is. We've proven that point, and we've now got some new options going forward. Nunez, who is Haaland's, idol, is going to already be looking out there and gives us something completely different. He's going to give us something completely different going forward. He struggled a little bit. I think he, clearly things were getting to him a little bit, but he's just, arms have gone round him. He's put 5 goals in 3 games, and he's only actually, he hasn't even played a full match yet. So he knows what he needs to do. He's got a lot to learn. I was dead happy with him. I think Klopp is going to get an arm around him, and Pep Linders is going to have an arm around him, and they're just going to just say, "Listen, you're here for 6 years. You know, you don't all have to do it in the first 6 games. Just take your time. We know what you can do, and everyone knows what you can do. You know, and we'll get there." But yeah, what did you make of Haaland anyway? Well, obviously, not a great performance, but were you happy with some of the stuff he was doing, Pat?
Yeah, I was actually happy with his runs. I remember. Do you remember what I said in the preview? I don't know if it was in the preview with you guys. I think I also said that what's annoying me what's annoying me right now is our players still. It hasn't clicked in their head that there's strikers. Even when Alvarez played in the first game against Americana or America or whatever America, I don't remember the name. Alvarez was making runs that a striker makes, right? But it seems our midfielders and wingers still prefer to, instead of, like how you can put a through ball for the strikers, he's making the run between the defenders. So you give the ball in front, it's a counter, he'll run after it, he's made the run. You find Alvarez was offside a lot. Then he came to Haaland in the game he scored. He had moments where he was making runs at the back of the shoulder of the defender. You find Grealish holds the ball, right?
Yeah.
And then Haaland goes offside. He passes it to De Bruyne. Haaland comes back offside, points where he wants the ball, like he did at Dortmund. De Bruyne goes to Mahrez. Mahrez then tries to dribble and tries to shoot while the striker is open. And I'm like, I said it like in the Bayern team, and people called me negative. I was like, guys, these guys haven't clicked yet in their head that there's a striker. They're still playing a false nine. They're still playing that. Let's find each other and then we break down teams. It's like, no, it's a counter. Haaland is through on goal. Throw it. Alvarez is through on goal. Throw it to him. So Alvarez and Haaland seem to kept on looking at our players, but I think because they're like older people, you could tell they don't want to give out. Even in that other game, the Liverpool game, you saw Haaland look at De Bruyne like, bro, come on. The time when De Bruyne shot, remember when he almost scored, it hit the side net? Haaland looked at him and was like, come on, you could have. So I don't know how long that would take, because that's where now I'm saying, how long is it gonna that take? How many games are we gonna have to wait until our team does that? Because don't forget, even the City Force 9 system, you know that they had to twerk it too. They were lost. They were toothless. They used to just pass outside and they didn't know how to move. Nobody knew where to go. So it takes them, somebody said it takes them 6 games. But now I'm thinking, Dan, if you guys have had all that preseason, was it done purposely by Klopp? Because last time when you beat us to the title, it's because you guys started off with fire. And every time you start off with fire, do you know what you're done for has always been? It's because you don't have enough squad. But this time you actually have enough squad, especially in your defense, for your defense to actually keep you up there. So I'm saying, what if you guys start off fast again? City do that thing where they end up number 12, 11 in the first games. I'm just thinking that I hope it doesn't bite us, because trust me, you did see the game. Haaland, yes, had few issues, but majority of the times, even some guy said it on ESPN that he counted 10 times where everybody could have given the ball to Haaland. He's through on goal. But guess what they did? They keep the ball. Jack cuts back in, sends it to De Bruyne. De Bruyne sends it back, or Mahrez cuts back in, while Haaland is right standing in the middle. So I don't know how they're going to sort it out. So that's what I saw. But what I liked about Haaland in this game is, regardless the fact that he was missing, is the smiling. Like, it's as if he's smiling, saying, "Okay, okay, I'll okay, this is okay. I'll get the next one." But it's good. As I said, it's good that he was fighting against Liverpool. I'd rather Liverpool than has us play the Charity Shield against a team that's shit, and then he thinks it's easy. So it's good for him to fight against Liverpool. We'll see how it gets on, though. I just have faith. Something just tells me I have faith that Pep will tune them and say, "Look, guys, there's a striker. Please find the striker. Don't try to cut in and shoot." That's all I can say.
Well, yeah, it looks like you guys are going to be taking on an entirely different system anyways. Like, obviously, you've mentioned everything, bringing Haaland in, you move away from the false nine, but that's going to take fine-tuning. Pep has a track record of getting that right pretty quickly. As long as he doesn't have to redo the entire squad like he did in his first season at City. You guys will start firing sooner rather than later, but I think it's about, like you said, finding those passes. De Bruyne kind of like actually finding him when he's making those runs. I don't know how much space you guys will have in behind, but Haaland's runs are always pretty intelligent. So yeah, it'll just take a little while.
No, it took that with Liverpool with Nunez. It took a little bit of time because I think a game that me and Jesse watched, I think it was the Palace game. Like, obviously he got a little bit of extra time against Palace, and there was a few times that I mentioned to Jesse, so I was happy because he was getting frustrated because he was making the right runs, but the players weren't used to what that meant. When to give him the ball. What does that movement mean? What does he mean if I get the ball here? What's Nunez going to do? It's just getting on that wavelength between the two players to go. If I'm here, what he's going to do is he's just going to run. He'll make that run, and I need to put the ball there. And then eventually it'll click, and then Haaland's going to score goals. Nunez is going to score goals because what they both are is incredible finishers. That's what they do. They're number 9 predators. You can't train that. It's just natural.
Can I say something though, Dan?
Yeah.
Like, people should realize this. Like, I am one of the people who's voting for this whole, if Haaland has a stinker, clip him. You know what I mean? Like, it's part of the game. We all started it. So I was talking to a City fan. I was like, dude, why are you crying? You and us, all of us, were clipping Nunes on his first game. I was like, this is gonna go on. Like, whether people like it or not, it's part of the game. It's banter. We're gonna clip each other. So right now, I was telling him that right now we are sort of at Nunes 2, Haaland 0. That's what I was telling him. But I was like, our time will also come where we'll also clip him when his time comes. I was like, it's gonna go on and on. You get my point? So people shouldn't. There's nothing.
It's a bit forced, though, Patrick. It's forced. Like, everyone wants to slate Nunez because of his price tag, and Liverpool have spent big money on a footballer, because we're not allowed to spend big money on footballers because we do pride ourselves on finding bargains, and we do find the Jotas, and we do find these players, but Liverpool have got the financial firepower now. They can spend this kind of money, and ultimately it's just part of the game. But it's a little bit forced because, for me, Nunez and Haaland, it's like Haaland's been there and done it for many seasons. At Salzburg he was very, very good. At Dortmund he was very good. Now he's obviously at City. We all expect him to be very good. Nunez is kind of maybe a season or two behind where Haaland should be. So it's a little bit like comparing a Mercedes to kind of like a Ford at the moment. They're not quite on the same level.
Yeah, but it's
not
too
quite
late.
there.
It's too late though. I've noticed that it's out of everybody's hands right now. We're too deep. We're too deep. Yeah, we're too deep right now. Because I tried to stop it in one of the City groups. I was like, lads, let go. I've seen it's too late. The Liverpool fans have got in the City fans' heads.
Yeah.
But who started all this? You guys will be surprised.
United fans started it.
Yeah, it was United fans. It was a United fan who did the video, the Nunes video.
That's who started it.
Yeah, but no, dude. Every club does this. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Like, you want to say, oh well, it's forced. It's part of the price tag. It's always been forced. Liverpool are back on top of the world. City, everyone's jealous of for the most part. Looking at them and looking at the success and the way that they're doing it. You're just gonna have to put up with it because it's been Arsenal, Chelsea, and United for the past decade, and then for the decade before that, and now it's going to be Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. And it might come back in swings and roundabouts. It might be City, Liverpool, United, or Chelsea, Liverpool, City. This is just how it goes. You can't beat it, especially with Twitter around. It doesn't matter how, even if they don't go for a major price tag, you're still gonna get it. So.
100%, mate, definitely. Now, as I say, I was dead happy. I never at any point questioned Nunez, because one thing that any fan should do at their peril is question Liverpool's transfer strategy, because they just don't miss. Like, there's one player who didn't work out, but and you could say that's still up for debate, and that's Naby Keita. 50 million.
What about Karius and Benteke?
Well, Benteke was very early doors, wasn't he? He was 32 million. That was the first. Was he the first year on the Klopp, or was that Rodgers? I think that was Rodgers. Yeah, it was Rodgers.
That doesn't sound right to me. Yeah, I don't think he was ever.
Yeah, Benteke was Rodgers. Karius was only a £5 million sign, and he only cost like a couple of £1 million.
Yeah, we're talking about the scouting, isn't it? We're not talking about prices.
No, the scouting. Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, the last one you can pick out.
Dan, I'm joking. I'm trying.
No. You're right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it proves that point, isn't it? As you say, it's good because you go back and there is those times where Liverpool did get it wrong. They've had to learn their lessons. You know, it's not always been.
Your scouting is top notch, yeah.
You know, FSG came in and were like, yeah, we're like the experts, we're the geniuses, we'll just buy the right ones. The first signing that FSG actually ever made was Fabio Borini, and that was off the words of basically they listened to what Brendan Rodgers said and just believed him, and they realised that you can't trust the eye test. You need to have the data, you need to have all the information, you need the right people making the decisions, and you can't always trust the manager to be the person who's got the talent ID. There's people out there who have got much better talent IDs than coaches. They can spot a player much before any other manager, and they can spot them even if the manager doesn't even know who they are. Like that's what's important.
During these transitions, it always takes a couple of years to get it right.
Yes.
When you're implementing data models, I mean, even with United, it's not clear. It looks like we're trying to do something more towards the data side. We just had someone last year, but even now, you have the scouting department revamp. You have Murtaugh or Ten Hag coming in. You have Murtaugh and Richard Arnold coming to Ten Hag saying, this is what our scouting department has for you. And he says, none of this is good enough. Get everything set up in the background and just buy my list for this summer. Same thing's happening at Chelsea. They're going to try to set up this new model in the background. It may succeed. Like, by all means, it sounds like they're going to try to. But again, it's who do you want, Tuchel? It takes a couple years at least to get the data model ticking over and actually
because there's points like you said, Jesse. There's points where like you'll put that data information in, but something won't have been attributed. There'll be something which wouldn't have been sort of foreseen, and you have to learn that, don't you? You go, oh, we didn't think of that. Oh, that wasn't something that we had in our information, so we're now going to include that in our data, and then it changes it completely. As you say, you've got to learn from the mistakes, and hopefully they're not too expensive. You know, they're not going to be 40, 50, 60 million pound players. The players that you can go, well, 20, 25, and then you can go heavy and pay the big cash. Virgil van Dijk, that clearly wasn't like a shot in the dark. I think people were very certain that they knew what they were getting with that man. And that's why I think the same with Nunez. But talking about probably another opportunity for us to talk about a player who isn't going to City, Marc Cucurella. What do you think, Patrick? You're missing out, man. What's going on down at City? I thought you had loads of money.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I know I was ranting this morning, and I think I've ranted before saying, if we know he's our top like option, why don't we go far? But I sat back and said, you know what? Screw Brighton. Let's sorry for that, but I was like, you know, Brighton can go do one, because at the end of the day, it's good that maybe we should stop letting clubs, regardless of the fact that we've got oil and a bit of money, as people believe. I think we should stop letting clubs put extra money. Yes, they used to do it for United, but I think we should sit there and say, you know what, good for you. You keep him, because what I'm thinking about is Fab was reporting that I think it was the agent who said 35 can take him, or 30 to 35 will take him out of Brighton. Now Brighton were with that, you know, they were going to welcome that apparently. Then, boom, they see that we are selling a lot and we're getting money. They're like, you know what, you come when we saw Zinchenko, we came back. They're like, no, you know what, 50. So at the end of the day, look, Chelsea want to pay the 50 right away. Fair play to Chelsea. I think for this one, City are never going to win, because let me be honest, if we spent the 50, people will be making streams saying, oh, look at that, they dropped the 50 on this.
But you don't need to pay the 50, Patrick. You want City.
That's the
if you went in with 40, he would do a Rafinha situation. He doesn't have to go to Chelsea. He can sit there and say, I'm not going. So take 40 million.
Yeah, did you read what Fab said? Fab said the 40 has been rejected while they were talking to Chelsea. So they rejected the 40. 60, 50 went to 40. But the thing is, what I've noticed is this. Somebody has said, I think, because he put a transfer request, I think he sees that he's burnt the bridges and he might as well go now. Do you get my point? I think he's just decided to say, I might as well leave.
You see now, I disagree with you saying that the Brighton are doing anything wrong. Brighton have got an asset which they know is valuable, and they've got him for, I believe, he got 3.5 years, 4 years on a contract.
4 years.
Yeah.
He's got 4 years. They're in a position of strength. They don't have to sell. They can sell him next season. He'll still be worth just as much money. If he goes out and has another belter season at Brighton, plays fantastic numbers, his value's only going to go up potentially, if not remain the same. So for me, I'm of the opinion that this is a big risk. This is a really big risk for Manchester City to maybe kind of not go in and sign someone, because he's Premier League proven. He's desperate to play for you guys. I mean, he is desperately, wants to play for you. And I know that you say the 40 million's been rejected, but that doesn't mean that you just stick 40 million on the table and say, listen, there's Man City's offer. We'll pay 40 million pounds. That's what we'll pay. If that's what you want to, if you don't want to take it, that's fine. But Marc Cucurella can put internal stress on the club by saying, I don't want to go to any other club than City, which then means that they've got to accept the bid that's on the table potentially, or reject it. So Chelsea can bid as much as they like. What will happen is the club will sit there and say to Marc Cucurella, we've accepted an offer of £50 million from Chelsea. Mark can come back and say, I'm not going to Chelsea. It's as easy as that.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, Dan, this transfer, this one, especially this one, it's madness, Dan. Like I said the other days,
sold Alexander Zinchenko, and then there's no one ready to come in.
Yeah, so this is the funny thing, right? He puts in a transfer request, which even Brighton reporter, who's been reliable, said that, the transfer request has been received, but he said caution, and he put it in red. I'll send you a report what he wrote. He says caution. Brighton, I've said, whether you put the transfer request or not, we want our 50 million. Do you get my point? We want our 50 million. So do you know what I'm surprised with? The next morning, immediately after that, right? I say, okay, transfer request is like, yes, let it marinate for a week. No, the next morning, Brighton have closed talks with City. Do you get my point? So there's a transfer request. I've never seen this before. Whenever a player puts a transfer request, it stays for a while, isn't it? He's now doing, there's a transfer request that discusses it. It's been accepted. Then the reporter also wrote a message. He's like, Cucurella, none of the staff thought Cucurella could go as far as a transfer request. But Brighton again say, whether you like it or not, we want our money. So City should pay up or shut up. That's what he wrote. And I was like, wow, this guy is just because he's from Brighton, he's playing games. Then now, that was Friday. Rewind to Sunday, Chelsea signing him. So I don't know. That's why you see, Dan, I'm confused. That's why I've been confused with this signing. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I don't get what's going on. So
it is. It's a mad one, really, because he looks to me like a Man City player. Like, genuinely, he looks like a player who I can see.
Where would he fit at that Chelsea place? Are they just signing him for the sake of signing?
Yeah. Genuinely, they're signing him for the sake of signing him. They have Ben Chilwell. They have Emerson, what's his face, who's come back from Italy. Yeah, Emerson Palmieri. They've got two players there. Ben Chilwell should already be, unless they know something we all don't know, Ben Chilwell should be the number one. So if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'd be concerned. I'd be concerned that his injury is worse than people are getting onto. That maybe his recovery isn't as good as what everyone was hoping that it would be. Because Marc Cucurella shouldn't really be who that they need to bring in, because he's not going to come and play backup. He's a player who should be in the first team. Genuinely, he should be a first team player. Only City, maybe Liverpool, could possibly get a player like that and put them on the bench. I honestly think there's only two clubs in this league where you would say, I'm a first team player at Brighton and I'm going to come and play second fiddle at another Premier League club. That's the way I see it. I might be wrong, but that's how I see it.
No, it's 50 million they don't need to spend in this position. So it's actually a stupid move. It's actually straight up stupid.
Crazy move.
What doing is going and trying to find a right winger or a striker.
What's your view, Jesse, though? What's your overall view? Because as I said, I want somebody from outside, not like me who has interest in it. But I'm saying, okay, so first of all, apparently Fabrizio is friends with his agent. Everybody knows, so it was open. That's why Brighton fans were shouting at Fabrizio and also insulting the agent, saying, you're leaking out things. But now you say, I've never seen a transfer request given the night before. The next morning, oh, you're done. We're not talking to the guys anymore. So was Brighton pissed off, saying maybe City is whispering in our players here, then they're trying to find like dirty ways to get him to leave us. And then obviously at the beginning, by the way, Dan, Chelsea and City were head to head for Cucurella when it first started. That was way, way, way. I think it was reported by Fab that Chelsea and whatever. So Chelsea dropped out because they say
why? But I don't understand, Patrick. I don't understand why. Me and Jesse had done this on our pre-season, reviews of different clubs. We talked about Chelsea. The last position that we said that they needed a player genuinely was left back. There wasn't any real requirement for the bring in.
That's why I brushed it off. That's why I laughed it off, because it was months ago, and it was Fab said it's Chelsea and City up for Cucurella. Then came later on and said, oh, but Chelsea have backed out because he only wants to play for Pep. Do you get my point? So I'm thinking, has Brighton now seen, okay, let's go back to Chelsea, who are maybe giving us a bit of a taste, and say, let's see if they want the player instead. Because apparently, regardless, Brighton underground, we're already looking for a replacement. They've been looking for a replacement. They've already been looking. And regardless, City sign him or not, somebody said they've been looking already. So they were prepared to give away. But excuse me, I just wanted to ask Jesse, what do you think is going on here? Because I'm confused by this transfer, to be honest.
Yeah. Sorry, Pat. No, I wouldn't be concerned about City's stance at all. You guys are clearly saying, look, 50 million is too much. We're not paying a premium for this player. But at the same time, I think it's more concern on Chelsea's part, because what they're doing to themselves, we've already seen them do multiple times this summer. Cucurella wants to go to City. That's a fact. And he's willing to wait for that move. I don't think that Chelsea is all that appealing this summer. I don't even know if Chelsea can move players on really in that position. And he already will have to have competition from Chilwell, whereas he might get, obviously he'll have time betting into Pep's system. But I think that Chelsea is the one who's really playing the dangerous game here, because at the end of the day, he wants to play for City. And this could easily be a tactic from Brighton to say, let's see how far we can push City's interest, because they know he wants to go to City, but City won't pay over 40 million. Now they might be able to get a cheeky 40 million plus 5 million in add-ons out of City, and they might just accept that because the player won't push to go to Chelsea, where he will push to go to City. So I'm less concerned about City in this situation, especially because City has a track record of getting really good players who are second choices. You guys wanted Maguire, you guys got Diaz. You won there. Like, there's no real, I don't see a massive concern in this case. My biggest thing is that I think if Chelsea push this to somewhere over 50 million, let's say 55 million, and then Brighton won't accept anything less than that, that's my only concern. But I think City are in a good position. I think he's a player that you guys want. I don't think you guys need him. I think you guys need a left back. But I think you guys will ultimately, if you guys were to get Cucurella, I think
left back,
perfect fit for your guys' system. So I'm actually more concerned for Chelsea. I understand as a City fan, you're looking at it and you're going, well, this is kind of effed up. Brighton are playing this game, even though he's handed in a transfer request. It doesn't really make sense. I'm not concerned for you at all. I think you guys will still get him. Just looking at how Chelsea's been moving and the way that teams have been basically negotiating with them, I'm way more concerned about Chelsea than I am you guys in this whole situation, which I know isn't an answer you want for City specifically, but I still think you guys get him.
I think this is dusted. When advanced talk done, advanced talk is dusted. This is dusted. But you know what? This is the funny thing is, that's why I was telling her, I was on a stream before I came here earlier on, and I told the Chelsea fan, I was like, do you really need this guy? Because it's like, looks like he's tailor-made for Pep and passing teams. Your team is not like that. And he was like, no, we don't care. That means you don't watch Chelsea. We will manage. So I said, okay, that's calm. I was like, it's calm anyway. But the funny thing is also, I noticed I was doing a show earlier on trying to find out, compare other fullbacks to Cucurella. He seemed to be beating everybody. So, City, you're right. City always end up picking up somebody, especially from Benfica. So right now at Benfica, the left back has got 1 year contract left. He's 26 years old. I think he's got 1 year left. I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind another Benfica boy, since City seems to be the place where all Benfica boys go and hang out. So yeah,
I think this is City doing City things, and Chelsea getting sucked into a nonsense transfer. Honestly, that's what I think.
Yeah, Chelsea have been moving mad, to be honest with you, when it comes to the transfers. I mean, we've discussed it multiple times on this channel. When they went after Rafinha, I've been saying this from the very start that they weren't going to get him. I said this from the very start. I always said that Rafinha only wanted Barcelona. It was literally, that was it. He would not move unless he was absolutely certain he wasn't going to go and get any chance that he'd be able to do that. So this is another situation, but it's now another way where actually Cucurella probably only wants City, and now Chelsea are trying to go after a player who doesn't actually want to go to Chelsea. It's no slight on Chelsea. He probably just seeks the opportunity to go and play under Pep Guardiola and go and lift some trophies and put some medals around his neck. There's no guarantee of that at Chelsea, and this is probably his only chance to play under Pep Guardiola. And if you've been chosen to do that, then it's a big pull. It's a massive pull and very difficult to turn down as a player at the end of the day. Very difficult to turn down.
It's going to be a rough one either way. Patrick, is Grimaldo the only player that you guys are really looking at besides that, or do you have
Yeah, so the reports have come in. So this is the funny thing. I don't know, Dan, if you've read it. So I listed 4, right? I listed 4 this morning. I'm gonna just list for you. You can be searching them one by one. Maybe we'll start off with Rafael from Dortmund. You know Rafael from Dortmund.
so much now?
Yeah, but he's 28 years old. I don't know if he's turning 29, but he's more of a worn-out soldier. But the good thing about Rafael is he's very good offensive, right? He's very good. He's got a very good left foot. But do we want a guy who used to be a winger, a left winger? Do we want a guy who used to play left midfield? Maybe Pep would like him, but I'm looking for a guy who's balanced. I'm looking for somebody like Tsimikas at Liverpool. Liverpool fans, if you want to give us
80 million.
please, don't be like that. Don't be like that.
Big
I can actually see Liverpool doing that. I can actually see Liverpool doing that just for the sake of it.
If you guys can't.
Yeah, Rafael,
he was available at Olympiacos, only 15 million. You just couldn't keep your eye out. You know what I mean?
I know. So he's got 1 year left, the Dortmund left back, but I don't want him because I don't want somebody who starts off as a winger. I know Cancelo did, but I want somebody who's hardcore. I like Robo. That has always been my dream. Robertson has always been my dream. Like somebody like Robo, who even though has a bad game, but you can know he'll give you a solid 8 out of 10. Another one I want, and this is the one I have wanted for so long. Even the guy I do, Gundo, I do the streams with, knows I talk about this kid. You know the kid at Wolves, Ryan.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. I like that kid. I think he's potential. I think a lot of people sleep on him. But guess what? Again, guess what contract is on? 4 years. So it means if we go knocking, I don't know if Wolves would be better. I think Wolves would accept the 40 because I think they got him for like 8 or less. I don't know how much they got him for. But they
would, but Nori's a little bit of a different one from Cucurella. He's very good, but he's a bit more. He's a rawer talent, shall we say? He's more of like a potential. Where Marc Cucurella is like first team.
You know that Cucurella is gonna go up levels, especially with the right manager. Nori is a really good option, though. He's in my FPL team right now.
Potential.
Yeah, you see, that's why I like him. I know that I've seen him play, and I saw him play against City. Oh, he gave us trouble. The thing about him is he's not scared to take on people. You know what I mean? And his defending was great. Yeah, I remember. Unfortunately, I think he put so much heart into the game. He got tired, fatigued, but he played the game of his life. Even though City beat them, but he played very well. And the other one is it Anthony Robinson? Anthony Robinson from Fulham. I rate him highly.
Yeah, I don't know why. My fellow countryman. Yeah.
I don't know why people sleep on him. I think he can be a very good fallback. And then the one, this is not my option. My option is Ryan and Robin, and the other ones like Alex Grimaldo from Benfica. That's just somebody who also has got 1 year left. So I'm looking at the 1 year left people and the one from Dortmund 1 year. Maybe those would be the options. But there's another one that apparently this report came from a City reporter, one of the City reporters. Immediately after the Cucurella deal, a City reporter said City have been studying Ryan from Wolves, right? And have been studying Sosa. You know Sosa? Who plays in Germany? Sosa is from Croatia. the place in Germany. So apparently they've been studying them for 4 months. So I sat there, I was like, okay, so the guy is a bit reliable. So I was like, okay, we've been going after Cucurella, but we've been studying Sosa and Ryan for moves. So did we know, or did we put this bid already months ago, and we knew that Brighton are just sitting on it and are not answering us back? So I'm not sure. So apparently we've been studying these two left backs also. So it looks like Sosa from Germany and Ryan from what was again from Wolves are the ones. But the funny thing is, he also reported that Benfica and Dortmund have offered us that two left backs. Obviously, the agents have offered that two left back who are left on 1 year. So it's going to be very interesting weeks coming in. But for me, I would prefer Ryan. I know that you guys say he's not the complete article, but I'd rather him, because he's in the league already, than go for somebody who's coming from like the 28-year-old from Dortmund. I don't know. It's just me.
That's just real quick, Dan. That's not even my main concern. Actually, the funny thing is I'm looking at these left backs, and I think like two of them specifically fit the profile. I know the Arsenal have been coming out saying these inverted left and right back, this new thing that Arteta's brought about. Pep's been playing with inverted, whatever that means. Like basically when you guys push up, your defenders tuck in, your right and left back tuck in, depending on what side the ball's on. You guys do that. So really, I just view Pep going in for someone like a Grimaldo or even an Aït-Nouri, someone who's really good on the ball. Cucurella is prime example. This kid is good enough on the ball 110% to play in midfield. And you guys have the ball so far up the pitch, that those are the sorts of players that I imagine you guys are actually looking at. So like speculation aside, I love Anthony Robinson. I want him to do amazing in his career as a fan of him. But I view you guys going for one of those players who has the technical ability to play essentially what is a DM when you guys are, in the final third. But
no, 100%. So yeah, talking over transfers, I think a good opportunity was to move on to our final segment before we end up the show. Wesley Fofana, absolutely not for sale according to Brendan Rodgers. They just sold Kasper Schmeichel, fee agreed, £1 million to Nice.
What? What?
Yeah, Kasper Schmeichel has agreed a fee, €1 million to Nice. He's going to go on the French Riviera and have a lovely retirement. So he is gone skis. See you later.
What?
Yep. So they are without Kasper Schmeichel. Leicester have weakened themselves somewhat and will need to replace him. Secondly, also, Aaron Ramsey's just been announced as well for Nice, coincidentally, as another player. They seem to be wrapping up a number of cheap buys over at Nice at the moment, which is an interesting number.
Can I ask something, Dan? Why are they doing this? I just saw a post by Fabrizio saying Newcastle bid 40 for Maddison. It was rejected. Now Newcastle are coming back with 50. Why are they selling that ballers? What's happening at Leicester?
Because they can't keep them. Because they've not. This is what happens when a club reached the summit, then went down again, and then this season have now got to a point where they are, which is they're not got any stronger. They've not brought in any good signings. Everything's very stale. And ultimately now you've got players like James Maddison, who's not a Leicester-born lad. He's actually from Coventry. He's got no allegiances to the club. He played absolutely fantastically. There's no reason to stay at Leicester. And Newcastle have got the cash. I was surprised they went with a £40 million bid because that was a ridiculous sum. They were never going to accept that. 50 million, still think it's going to be too short. I think he's closer to 60. In my opinion, for a player with his goals and assists. If Newcastle do get Maddison, that is a real coup midfield-wise for them. Really good signing. But it doesn't surprise me. Me and Jesse have actually discussed on our previous streams. We think Leicester are in for a very tough season. A really tough season coming up. Very tough.
Yeah, it's going to get even worse with obviously these players leaving. A lot of the issues with their finances have to do with, like Dan was saying, that you reach the pinnacle. You win the Premier League, you're basically runners up for Champions League every couple of years. You're in the Europa League, and all of a sudden you don't have European football. You can't pay the bonus. You know what I mean? You can't pay the bonuses that they want, that they initially were going to pay because they don't have the finances coming in from European football. So they find themselves in a really precarious position. Plus, I'm sure Brendan Rodgers is on a ton of money.
His time's up. His time's up at the club. He does this everywhere he goes. It gets stale. He should have gone last season. But he'll go this season, 100%. Brendan Rodgers will not finish the season at Leicester. Absolutely, no way. He will leave before the season finishes. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, 110%. And yeah, so they're going to have to get rid of some players. I don't think they necessarily have to sell, but the problem is they can't buy until they sell. Arsenal are sleeping on Tielemans and not showing any signs of moving that along. I mean, their wage bill is probably a madness right now. So, and Vardy's not getting, I mean, he's not just getting any younger. They can't get anything for him now anyways, because he's got a year left. So, and he's
not real value there. Daka hasn't worked out. They picked Liverpool to Patson Daka. Patson Daka was on Liverpool's list as a backup striker, and then they just beat us to him with a big signing. He's not quite worked out. Number of failed signings at Leicester. Going to be a tough season for them. But yeah, so Wesley Fofana, probably their other very valuable asset that they currently have. Chelsea been sniffing around, apparently. Isn't that right, Jesse? Looking to put have they made an offer to purchase already that's been rejected? Is that correct?
No, I don't think they have. I think they're trying to agree on a preliminary fee. I think they're asking for 70 million though. Leicester are. If we go ahead and add it up, you're looking at, what is it, 45 for Sterling, 30 for Koulibaly. Then you're looking at 70 for Fofana, and then who were we just talking about like 10 seconds ago? Why am I blanking so hard?
Tielemans, Maddison,
Cucurella.
Yeah.
200 million spent. Like I don't think that. I mean, I'm just going to go on about this. Who else are they looking at? They're looking at a couple other players, but Frankie De Jong then for 70 million, no chance. They had someone else they were linked to. Like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
What I say this in another stream, Jace, and people keep ignoring me. Why do we let Chelsea away with all this? Like I said, if it's Liverpool, look at Liverpool buy Nunes. People were going on them. Oh, look at you. Man United buy somebody. Oh, look at Man United. Arsenal buy Pepe. People are on Pepe. Chelsea just quietly in the background, just spend on Drinkwater, Bakayoko, Pato, Higuain. They just spend on these ballers. And guess what happens? When they fail to buy this Kepa people for 80 million, and when he fails, guess what they do? They send them on loan quietly. After a few months, they sell them for less than half the price. And they come back next season fresh. And here's another pass for Chelsea. Because if you think about it, Lukaku, Havertz, Werner, Ziyech is being sold for 12 million. Ziyech was bought for 45. Guys, I don't get it. Why does Chelsea get away with this? Are people scared to just point at Chelsea and say, why is Chelsea doing this? And the thing is, have you ever seen? They always do calculations for Liverpool. I've never seen a calculation for Chelsea. I've seen a calculation for Man United.
Because they can't count that high. That's why they've not invented a number big enough for how much money Chelsea's wasted.
Yeah, because I'm surprised. Because you're right. Right now, they want to spend all that. They should be competing for the title then. Like last season, again, they bought very, very expensive and talented ballers in Werner, Pulisic. Like, come on, Tuchel, we have to question him. He says, oh, I want this. Tuchel, my guy, Werner is a baller. I'm sorry, even though people laugh at Werner. Havertz is a baller. Why doesn't he improve them? Why?
You're in the right chat.
You're in the right conversation. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I was in a stream. They were giving excuses for Tuchel. They're like, no, this is Chelsea. No, he needs his
It's
own
not
ballers.
his team. They're not his players.
Havertz. Who bought Havertz? Wasn't it him?
Yeah. No. That was Frank. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, but let's say, but is it Havertz talented? Havertz is a talent. Okay, I don't know. I just feel like they keep them a pass, and yet people concentrate. Where are busy? I see on Twitter, people are concentrating on Arsenal. They're like, oh my god, look at Arteta. I was like, oh my god, look at Tuchel. If you look at let me ask you two guys on this panel. If you compare player to player, Arsenal versus Chelsea, who has better? Conte is better than Partey in my book.
Yeah.
Right. So looking at the 11s, would I have Ramsdale or Mendy? On his day, I'd have Mendy.
Yeah.
On his day, I think Mendy's actually not been very good so far pre-season.
Yeah.
But Mendy. Reece James, I'd have Reece James over Tomiyasu. No issues at all. I have Thiago Silva and probably Koulibaly over their centre backs. It's in and there, but I know I don't know enough about Koulibaly in the Premier League, but I know enough about him in the Champions League. He's probably there. Ben Chilwell on his day is better than Zinchenko. Sorry, he is.
No, it's true. It's true. That's true. That's true. Keep going.
You know, midfield wise, going in there.
Versus Partey.
Yeah,
it gets a little iffy just because
it gets iffy there.
Just because of
Dan, you cannot think of Kante and the Partey. It's
no, because Kante. I'm trying to take memory Kante away and look at current one, from last season.
Okay, I see what you mean.
That's not even what I'm saying. I take an uninjured Partey over Jorginho all day long.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you stick a Conte and Kovacic in there. No one else gets in from Arsenal. There's absolutely.
What about the front?
Kovacic on his day is absolutely fantastic. He's a brilliant player.
Kovacic definitely makes it. Actually, he's first on that.
He's an absolute pain in the backside. I hate him for Chelsea. As a Liverpool fan, I hate seeing him.
He's very talented. He's a very talented baller.
So if we go with a front three.
This is where Arsenal get in, because
Arsenal get in.
We've got Gabby Jesus, and
there's Ziyech. We're looking at that talent.
What about Mason Mount? Because I like Mason Mount, but what do you think?
Yeah. I take Mount
Odegaard. So it's Mason Mount versus Odegaard.
Mason Mount versus Odegaard. I'd probably still take. Excuse my language.
Mason Mount is effective. Odegaard is talented.
Mount is effective. Odegaard is talented, but he doesn't create chances at all.
Yeah.
He doesn't progress the ball really. Odegaard doesn't progress the ball. He just recycles it.
We need to see a lot more out of Odegaard next season, because everyone really got off on. He creates the most chances out of any player, but if you actually look at the chances he actually creates, they were naff. To be honest with you, they were absolutely tat. They weren't. It was a really poor stat. It was like saying he took the most shots in the league. It was like, well, how many goals did he score?
But then
it was irrelevant. It wasn't really.
Smith Rowe.
Smith Rowe. I love the kid. Still a kid.
So we say this is Halvers.
Yeah, so you've got Mason Mount, Bukayo Saka. Obviously, Gabriel Jesus has been absolutely electric. I think Jesus is the 9, 110%. I would have him in front of those guys. Havertz. Now, this is the thing.
No.
Havertz is an absolute pain in my backside as a Liverpool fan, because he always seems to be able to turn up against us. But I got absolutely pulled to pieces when I compared Havertz's output probably to that of Divock Origi. If Divock Origi played as many games as Havertz, he'd score just as many. It's as simple as that. He would score as many.
I think Origi goes to a Premier League team and plays like 30 games. I think Origi will be competing.
Origi played 7 games last season in the Premier League and scored 3 goals.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. He would be competing for the Golden Boot. I know people won't like to hear this, but I think Origi, even goes to Arsenal, we'll be looking at Origi like what Jesus is doing. I think
Origi scored loads of goals. The fact that other Premier League teams slept on him and allowed him to go to AC Milan is beyond me. Genuinely beyond me. Like, he would go to any other Premier League team from Arsenal down and would easily score double-figure goals. Easy. No issues at all. But I thought Arsenal would come in for him in January. Do you know when they had no strikers? I thought they would try and sign him.
I think Arteta went for somebody he knows, maybe.
Yeah. So for me, Chelsea's team, probably man for man is better than Arsenal's, in my opinion. But as a team, no way. They're not a team. They're individuals.
Not right now. I don't think I've never been convinced that Tuchel can teach, can coach attacking styles of play. He's never shown it throughout his entire career. Not even at Dortmund did he.
Even at PSG.
Well, definitely not at PSG. I mean, at PSG, no one can coach it. I think Pep has a shout. If Pep goes there one day, maybe he'll be able to do it. But I don't think that there's any manager that front four will listen to. So, but like, even just going back to that, just real quick, just to clarify, Gabby gets in, but then Sterling gets in. Like, they get like 2 out of that 11. So it's pretty incomparable.
So that's it. They're a funny old team, to be honest with you. But Chelsea's got a very interesting season. I currently have them as it stands right now. For me, it's finishing 5th or 6th. That's where I see them. I see Tottenham.
I said the same thing. I was told that I have to readjust my thinking.
Yeah, I mean, and so we should. I mean, ultimately, it's Chelsea's transfer style has been erratic. It's been scattergun from the start. We've said that multiple times on this channel with me and Jesse. We're both said he just seems to be just making it up as he goes along. He just seems to not, Bowley's come in and it's just, well, they're trying to sign him, so we'll sign him. I never understood Rafinha. It made no sense.
Because they're signing people after you fail. That's what they're doing. So let's say for Rafinha, remember, Dan, Leeds were telling Barcelona, we're not going to take you 45 million. Chelsea saw that and went straight with 66. It's as if the same thing as Cucurella. So as soon as you fail, they just hear rumors you're failing. They are coming there with a big amount. Because don't forget, Koulibaly was also being linked with some other team. Don't forget Delete also was being linked to Bayern, and they decided to go with a higher price. But Delete said, no, I'm going to Bayern. Yeah, right. Keep going.
This is
there's no good business being done there. There's no good business.
This is what I'm saying. This whole like weird little saga with Cucurella, I wouldn't be surprised, is really my point, if you see a U-turn and City get him for 43 million or like 40 million with add-ons going up to 45 or something. I wouldn't be surprised at all, because this is what Chelsea's been doing. They've been on this crackhead approach for all summer. So
it's been crazy that, I was sort of kind of giving him a bit of a buy when Bowley went in and said he was going to take over that job, because I thought he's going to give himself an insight, as to what's required of this role. He's going to know what he needs to do, when he's employing somebody. But as it stands now, I have a belief that I probably could have done a better job than Todd Bowley. As it stands right now. No, and that's not me even being hyperbolic or being funny. I genuinely feel like I probably could have told him. I could have told him. I could have said, Todd, there's no point going for Rafinha. I could have told him that. He could have, genuinely, I could have said, you're going to waste your time. And he could say, why do you think that, Dan? And I'd have said, because he doesn't want to go anywhere else. It's like going for Lewandowski. It would have been a waste of time. It's lovely because Chelsea were being linked with Lewandowski. He's literally telling the whole world and his dog, I only want to go to Barcelona. I only want to go to Barcelona. But no one's listening. No one listened. They were like, he could go to Chelsea. He's never going to Chelsea.
The mad one wasn't even Rafinha. The mad one was Koundé. Because it's like, dude, this happened a week ago, dude. Like, it's like your best friend getting cheated on, going back to their ex missus, and you're like, dude, we've just we just got over this, so just please don't.
We've been here before.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's just like, God damn it, please don't do it. Like,
Koundé, Barcelona apparently sniffing around Cucurella as well. Apparently, I mean, that's not as concrete, but there's talk that he's there. And Barcelona is most certainly, they are like Mr. Mac Daddy. They're turning up and taking everybody's girl right now. And they can do what they like. I mean, I love it because there's a lot of bitterness. But
do you know he would go? Do you know he would definitely hit a fast. He will hit a fast because these Barcelona boys, as when Barcelona comes calling, even if the deal is just left with you signing. I have seen people make a U-turn before for Barcelona and Madrid and left the table. So if Barcelona come for him, because we were scared at City, we even say the same thing. We were like, oh my God, if we sign Cucurella, make sure you put him in a 6-year deal. Because we know if we put him in a small deal, in 2 years, guess who's going to come calling at the door? Yeah. Barcelona. And then he'll start this whole Ferran Torres thing, or I'm injured, or I feel like I have to go see my family, then boom, it's gone. But anyway, this Fofana thing, you know what's going to happen? If Todd Bowley wants to deal with Leicester, I think Leicester will sell, but guess what they're going to do? I see 90 million because Leicester are like that evil, probably the most evil team ever. They'll just trust me. If they continue pushing, I think Leicester say, take him, but it will go like a high amount. Because I was seeing rumors of 70, 85. So I think they will cough a lot of money. I hear he's in a big contract too.
In no world is he worth anywhere near that.
No, not even close. He's had I think 35 games in English football.
And a serious injury as well.
And an ACL. Or no, leg break. What was it? Because
I think it was a leg break, wasn't it? It was a clean leg break. I think he got that in a friendly, wasn't it?
Yeah, right before literally the last preseason game before this.
Yeah, I remember that actually happening. It was really sad for him. And I'm not saying that should matter into it, but where is this price tag coming from? Genuinely, where is that?
It's Leicester. They do this to everyone. This is why City came in, and they said they gone to a bidding war with United, and they're like, "Well, we're already kind of like near his asking price. We're not going to pay 70, 80 million for Maguire. This makes no sense." And United were like, "We can get it down from 80." End up paying 80 in the end or whatever.
We went for Soyuncu. Did I tell you that? We went for Soyuncu. They told us 85. I remember. Yeah, we did. We did. So what happened is we left Koulibaly, right? And City started moving fast. Like they went to Kunde. Kunde wanted to come to City. Then Sevilla didn't want to take Otamendi. You know that, right? So City within a night, like the business that City did within 2 nights was very quick. So within like I think 12 a.m., I was at work. I got a text saying Kunde has agreed terms, but Sevilla don't want to take Otamendi. City want to get rid of Otamendi. Remember that was part of the deal. So Sevilla didn't want to take Otamendi, and then they're like, oh, but Kunde wants to come to City because we spoke to him before the whole Koulibaly thing. City, they were saying Kunde is coming to City. Then they dropped. Then apparently those rumors, oh, Kunde is not happy with Sevilla, but Sevilla don't want to take Otamendi. They want straight cash. They wanted 65 straight cash. Then we moved on to Leicester. It lasted for a few minutes where I say Leicester asking for 85. As soon as we had 85 from Leicester, within 30 minutes, Diaz is pushing to come to City. City have signed Diaz. It's done and dusted. So we did go for Soyuncu because I remember Gundogan saying it to Soyuncu in his language, saying to Pep, saying, "Oh, sign this boy up. I hope I play with you one day," like something like as a joke in the field. But that's how they are. Leicester will give you amounts that are, because they don't care. They don't have to sell. Leicester goes with big amounts.
Crazy.
Just watch this Madison. Madison will go for 70.
I know they've got rich owners. I know their owners have obviously got a few quid behind. But the funny thing with Leicester is that they're not able to spend that money because obviously they're not a fashionable club. They're not a club that can gain a lot of money from the exterior world kind of thing. You know what I mean? They're a little bit like a budget version of City. They sponsor their own stadium and all that. No, but you know what I mean? They sponsor their own stadium. Their owners call it the King Power Stadium. It's their own company. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of the money's internal. And that, for me, almost has a kind of view of the rest of the world. Because if you're going to sponsor your stadium, you shouldn't have to sponsor it yourself. There should be someone who's out there willing to say, well, we want to turn it into the Nike Arena and we'll pay you 450 million or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's... that's where they are. So, but if Wesley Fofana is worth £80 million, Ibrahima Konate is in excess of 120. Sorry,
Konate was a steal, though. It was a steal.
The thing is, he says a steal. It's just about being good in the market. It's just about being ahead and getting your scouts out there and just looking at football, for God's sake.
Out of his interest, what was his contract out of interest? Was he on a 1 year? Was he left to 20?
It wasn't massive. It wasn't massive at all. But we could have told you during our when we beat them 5-0 at Old Trafford, we watched Upamecano and we watched Konate. And every single United fan could have told you Konate is the real deal. And this other guy, he's just not it. He isn't.
The other guy was a hype job, wasn't he?
There was something that was said amongst managers, apparently. It was the ones who like the ones who like football would say Upamecano. The ones who know football know Konate. That was it. Like everyone who knew, the internal thing was everyone's looking at Upamecano, but Konate is actually the one that people should be, going for.
Yeah, he's the one who was actually sweeping up everything. I guess he wasn't the leader, but honestly, Upamecano is not really a leader either. So it's interesting, but it'll also be interesting to see Bayern's backline this season with a couple Upamecanos there, except for Upamecano actually has pace. So, I'm not saying
it'll be the Champions League where the real test will come for them. I want the Leipzig game. That was just a joke. It just is. De Ligt didn't cover himself in glory, in fairness, for their goal that they conceded. He looked every bit as clumsy as we thought he was going to look. I'm not fully sold on the guy. I think he's quite clunky and quite. He's not what people kind of thought he was going to turn into. So Chelsea dodged a bullet there. In fairness, I think they did. I think he'll look great in the Bundesliga. He'll look great in the Bundesliga, but I think in the Premier League, De Ligt would have got found out week after week.
But then that's the problem, that they're going after targets that they're dodging bullets unintentionally. They're dodging bullets that they really should be trying to not go after in the first place. They're almost jumping in front of bullets and they're just barely missing. They just kind of don't make any sense to me. We can kind of all see it. I'm relying on Chelsea at this moment in time because they're making United's transfer window look good.
Why do they want De Jong? What's this business of we'll go for whoever? I bet you they'll come with 100 million. I bet you they'll come with a high price to Barcelona just to get him. Maybe you get it. Like, I don't get them. I don't get Chelsea. I don't get them.
Oh yeah, why are they going for De Jong? I don't know. This is kind of what I'm saying. I think that they have to be out of their minds to try to outbid United, because I think United will welcome, especially we'll welcome a bidding war, especially at this point. Like, we're dead set on him. Doesn't look like we're going to get Anthony. Šeško is being looked at by everyone and their mother. Like, I know Bayern are interested for next year. Once you start hearing one more year at Salzburg and Bayern are interested in you, I mean, there's just no chance he's coming to United in our current state. Why would they go for De Jong? Because they're going to do the same thing they did with everyone else. Arsenal were interested in Rafinha. Okay, we want Rafinha. They wanted De Ligt. Obviously, they got scared out of that whole transfer. They got Koulibaly and all that. Like, I honestly don't think that they have a concrete transfer strategy. And I also know for a fact, lots of people don't know this about Ten Hag. Ten Hag used to be a DOF. He was a DOF before he ever became a manager. He wasn't really a football person. He went to like dance school, and he comes from a wealthy family. He's just a smart dude. Like, basically is what his whole thing is. I don't think Tuchel has the nous to basically build a club. I think he's a coach, and he's only a coach, and that's what he'll always.
He's the kind of guy that I would drop ship in to Manchester City to win the Champions League.
Just like on a one-off, just like, okay,
yeah,
Pep going for whatever reason. Obviously, Pep's a much better coach, but just for whatever reason, we just need a cup manager to get us a result this season.
I've said this with Jesse. I've said this before. Thomas Tuchel, for me, just before he is, as it stands right now, a upgraded version of Rafa Benitez. He's a cup manager. He's a manager who can win you trophies. He could win the Champions League with Manchester City. Would he win the league? No, I don't think he would. I don't think he would win the league. I don't think he's a league manager.
He knows how to set up league games, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think Thomas Tuchel will ever win the league with Chelsea. He'll never win the Premier League. It's as simple as that. Even if I know we've got Pep and I know we've got Jurgen Klopp in the Premier League anyway, so we've probably got no chance of him winning it as it stands. But as it stands for me, Thomas Tuchel is the manager who, if Pep left today, I would get him at Manchester City. And then Man City, for me, would be nailed on as favourites to win the Champions League, because he would just get that team set up to play 13 matches to win the league. To win the Champions League, and then off into the sunset. Because he's not a manager like Jesse says. He's more of a he's a cup manager. Simple as that.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely mad. Sorry, I didn't realize you had sent that in the group chat, by the way, before, Pat. I would have brought it up. Or you sent it somewhere. Anyways, it doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah, I know. Right, anyway, we've gone on a little bit longer than we'd normally. Listen, I just want to thank Pat for coming on. Really, really appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much for coming on. Go and check out his channel, everybody. True City fan. Always covers plenty of content, really good stuff. Get on there, just kind of give you your fill of Manchester City. Listen, Jesse, Pat, thank you very much. Really appreciate everyone who's come and watched this evening. Really, really appreciate it. Put a like on for us. Thank you very, very much. You can subscribe. We're on the road to try and get 500 subscribers. We really hope that you can help us get there. It does mean a lot. Try and get it at the ground floor. We're putting content out pretty much all the time. We'll be back again on Wednesday. Bit of a preview. We're hoping probably for the Premier League is what we're going to be doing. Big up, Dan. Thank you very much, Soli. Thank you. Really appreciate you popping and putting that comment. Thank you so much. Listen, everyone. Have a good evening. We will see you soon. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye-bye.